welcoming you to our new class. This class is called Envisioning Your Working Farm. And I love the idea of this being a picture in your head, because I know if you're anything like me that you already have a picture in your head of what you want your farm to be like. And that is an amazing thing, but it's a little difficult sometimes, number one, for you to remember the visions that you've had in the past, but also how to communicate those visions to other people. So this class is actually going to give you some really tangible results. You're going to have a plan to put up on your wall, to share with your teammates, to share with your coworkers, to share with the business bank people who are helping you fund stuff. It'll help you just to communicate that vision that you have in your head to somebody else. Sometimes your spouse. Okay, I don't know about you, but my spouse can't always read my mind. And so it's helpful to actually have these kinds of documents to help them. And this is going to be a rather elaborate class. We're going to go into some real depth into how to do some planning. So it's not just a surface class. You're not just going to get, sketch some things on the back of a napkin, though we will talk about that. We are actually going into quite good depth on what a plan is, on those components of a plan that make it really substantial and meaningful and actually useful and more accurate than if you just sketch something on the back of a napkin. I have no problem with sketching things on the back of a napkin. I frequently work with people, and what we end up with is a napkin plan. But we are going to go a little bit deeper than that. And actually we're going to have some documents that will go along with your actual business, your base plan, your drawn plan, your architectural drawing. Don't freak out. We're going to go through all that. But we are actually going to have documentation that will go with that. So why should we do a plan? A plan is really important in my world for organizing your thoughts. I'm a planner, of course, or I wouldn't be teaching this class, but I find that planning really helps you to put your thoughts in order and decide ahead of time what's important and what's not important. A plan can actually help you realize if you've missed something. I don't know about you, but I get kind of anxious about stuff if I feel like I've forgotten something. And a plan can actually help you step by step go through and make sure that you haven't missed anything when you're doing an analysis of something. And then it's also a really great way, like I said, to communicate with other people. So, first assignment I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes for a minute. I want you to take some deep breaths. And I want you to step back a little bit from the day-to-day workings of your farm. If you have a farm already, you'll need to go on a retreat. You'll need to go have a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You're going to have to go away from the farm for a little bit, because I'm a farmer and I know that all these things kind of jump on you if you're not paying attention. So if you want to take a little bit of time to do this pre-planning, that would be awesome. So you're going to step back from your day-to-day activities. I find winter a really good time to do this. We have harsh winters where I live, and winter's a great time to do this planning because you're not quite so busy with things outside. You might even take a week-long retreat and go someplace else and do your planning somewhere else, because sometimes that distractions can really drag you away from getting really clear on what you want to do. So I want you to step back from your farm, take a breather, kind of ponder in your heart and your mind, look at your farm from the 30,000-foot view. Oftentimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day that we can't really see where we're going in the long run. So I want you to do that. I want you to kind of take a step back and just think about your farm sort of in the abstract, and we're going to do a wish list. Okay? First assignment, write down a wish list. You're going to write down anything that you notice that's going wrong, anything that you notice that you feel like could be improved, anything that you notice that just frustrates you or irritates you or makes you think twice about something, or something that's really hard. something that could be easier. How about that? We're going to make a wish list. And I just want you to go crazy. This is like a brainstorming activity. I just want you to go crazy with ideas. Maybe I've been doing dairy farming my whole life and I want to switch to farming, I don't know, hemp or something. So maybe it's huge. Maybe it's a big deal, these ideas. But just write them all down. Okay? The whole lot of them, just write them all down. It really helps in that creative part, and a lot of this work is going to be very creative at the beginning and more kind of technical later. And so it's really important that you let your brain go crazy, okay? Just really let it out. Like, figure out all the things that you would possibly like to do, and even some that maybe you don't want to, but you know, sound interesting, that you've never heard of before. But maybe that's a cool thing to start. So just go big, dream big. Write all this stuff down. Pretend you have $1 bazillion and 100 people working for you, or 1,000 people working for you. And what could you accomplish? What would you want to do if you had no limitations on those dreams? Okay, so one of my big questions was, what is good design versus bad design versus something that doesn't work? So I'm a very results-oriented kind of person, and I want things to work. And if they aren't going to work, I don't want to waste my time with them. And I'm sure some of you feel the same way. Especially if you're a farmer, you're sort of always busy, and you'd really like the things that you're busy with to stick, right? And to have the effect that you would like them to have, so that you don't have to go back and do them again. That is a big no-no in my world. So I want to teach you how to do a design that helps you achieve what you're trying to achieve. That's good design for me. That it actually works in real life. It's not something that you're just making up, or something that's fictional, or something that's like a great ideal, but it doesn't actually work. I'm not interested in those kinds of results. I'm only interested in the things that actually work. Okay? So also, good design in my world, I love beauty. I love things that are beautiful. And so if it's lovely, or it's just a really elegant way for something to happen, I'm all about that. So if it works, that's a number one. If it's beautiful, that's great. If it's fulfilling in some way, like speaks to your heart, that's a great thing. So there's lots of different aspects of design, and as we go through it, you'll figure that out. We are going to talk a little bit about drafting. I don't want you to get freaked out or scared by that, because drafting is actually just putting something on a piece of paper that someone else can look at and go, oh yeah, I get that. That's all it is. You don't have to have architectural drawings. Even in landscape design, we didn't like get super crazy with scales or trying to figure out exactly how to measure something, right? A lot of design work is actually just really rough sketches. And so we're going to talk about that, and we'll talk about how to do a plan and how to do one that's actually kind of beautiful, even if it's not to, you know, the 16th of an inch kind of accuracy, okay? You are not going to need any art or drafting experience. It does help a little bit if you're able to kind of look at something and see it in a plan view. So like as if it was an aerial picture that you were looking at it from above. Not everybody has that ability, and if you don't, that's fine. We're going to work through some exercises that will help you kind of get that idea of how something that's a three-dimensional thing that you're normally looking at horizontally, like vertically in front of you, how you can look at that from above. Does that make sense? Mostly, drafting the plan is about organizing the space. It just is a tool that helps you to organize the space better. So that's all the drafting we're going to do, is something that will communicate it to somebody else and that you can look at later and go, oh yeah, I remember what I was doing there and what my thought was, and that's pretty cool. I'm going to go try to do that some more. But that's kind of the brief introduction to the class. I hope I don't drive you crazy too much. I do talk with my hands quite a bit. I am going to insert little clips, photos, plans, probably drawn plans, we're going to have some fun with this class. So if there's something that you would actually like to see or you have a question, please let me know. You can email me at info@smallfarmplanning.com. That would be a great way to get what you want into this course, because as you know, we're developing it as we speak, and I just would love to have your input on how we can make this class better. And so with that, we'll go on to our first lesson in this introductory series. I think the next one is called Pre-Planning for Real Success.